Turns out, maternal nutrition and pregnancy cholestasis. Your liver is slowly poisoning you, and nobody told you that what you ate might have stopped it from happening. You're pregnant. You're exhausted. Your skin itches so badly, you're clawing at your arms at 3 in the morning. You go to your doctor. They run tests. They find bile backing up into your bloodstream. Intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy. They tell you it's rare. They tell you they'll monitor the baby. But what they don't tell you is this. Some of the damage might have been preventable. Not from medication, not from genes, from what was on your plate. So here's the question nobody's asking yet. What if we've been treating pregnancy nutrition like a suggestion instead of an intervention? The human body during pregnancy is a medical emergency pretending to be normal. Your metabolism rewires itself. Your blood volume expands. Your organs shift. And sometimes something goes wrong that nobody sees coming. Intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy is one of those things. It's when your liver stops processing bile correctly, usually in the 3rd trimester. It affects somewhere between 0.1% and 3% of pregnancies, depending on where you live. The risks are real. Stillbirth, preterm delivery, complications for the baby. For decades, doctors assumed it was purely genetic, purely hormonal, purely unavoidable. Nobody looked hard at nutrition because, well, they weren't looking. A research team in Istanbul decided to look. Between 2022 and 2023, researchers led by Keles and her colleagues at the University of Health Sciences in Turkey enrolled 114 pregnant women. 38 had developed intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy. 76 were perfectly healthy controls, matched for age and body mass index. This wasn't a small preliminary study. This was serious science. And they wanted to know something specific. Were the women who got sick eating differently than the women who stayed well? Here's how they did it. For every woman with cholestasis, they found 2 healthy pregnant women who looked the same on paper. Then they went deep on diet. Each woman completed a 24-hour dietary recall, where researchers walk you through everything you ate over the past day. They also filled out a 60-item food frequency questionnaire, which basically means listing every food you eat regularly and how often. Think of it like this. Imagine taking a photograph of someone's diet over months, then asking them to describe every meal in meticulous detail. That's what this was. They calculated whether each woman was getting enough vitamins, minerals, protein, energy. Then they looked at how much weight each woman gained during pregnancy, tracked outcomes for both mother and baby, and compared. What they found was startling. Women who developed intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy had significantly lower energy intake than the control group. We're not talking about a tiny difference. We're talking about a statistically significant drop, p equals 0.004. In plain English, that means there's less than 0.5% chance this happened randomly. They were eating less, noticeably less. And here's the thing that really matters. They were also gaining less weight during pregnancy. The difference was even more pronounced. P is less than 0.001. That's a 1 in 1,000 shot of being random. These women weren't gaining adequate weight. But it gets worse. When researchers ran nutrient adequacy analyses, they found comprehensive deficiencies. Not in one nutrient, not in 2. Multiple nutritional gaps across the board. Energy, protein, specific vitamins, minerals. The women who got sick were nutritionally compromised, and significantly so. Now here's what you need to understand before you panic. This doesn't mean eating poorly causes intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy. The biology doesn't work that simply. Cholestasis happens when your liver's bile transporters malfunction, usually triggered by pregnancy hormones. Nutrition doesn't rewire your liver's genetics. But, and this is crucial, what nutrition does is affect your body's ability to handle stress. to process hormones, to maintain cellular function when things are already going sideways. Think of your liver like an overloaded electrical system. Genetics and hormones are the overload. Nutrition is whether you've got quality wiring to handle it. These women weren't eating enough to keep their systems resilient, and apparently that mattered, because the maternal and neonatal outcomes were worse in the cholestasis group. Preterm delivery was more common. Birth complications increased. The babies faced greater risk. You can't separate nutrition from the severity of what happened. Here's where this gets real. If you're a pregnant woman and you develop cholestasis, you're already terrified. Your body is failing to do something basic, but most obstetric care, at least in many parts of the world, doesn't include nutritional assessment as part of standard pregnancy monitoring. You see your doctor every month, then every 2 weeks, then every week. Nobody asks whether you're eating enough. Nobody measures nutrient density. Nobody calculates whether you're meeting pregnancy-specific nutritional demands. This study suggests that gap might actually matter. It might matter a lot. Are there limitations? Absolutely. This is a case control study, meaning researchers looked backward at women who already got sick and compared them to women who didn't. That's not the same as proving nutrition caused the difference. Women with cholestasis might have been sicker, eaten less because of nausea or itching. The causality runs both directions. Sample size was relatively small. 114 women is decent, but not enormous. This was also conducted in one country, during one specific time period, in one healthcare system. Whether these findings apply everywhere, to everyone, remains an open question. But step back from the limitations for a moment. The medical world has been assuming intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy is this purely genetic, purely unlucky thing that happens to some women. Shrug. Monitor the baby. Induce early. Nobody has been systematically asking whether maternal nutritional status changes the risk or the severity. Nobody has been comparing the diets of women who get it to women who don't. This study did that work, and it found something that shifts the conversation. What if intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy isn't purely bad luck? What if it's partially preventable through better nutritional support? What if women who are at risk could be identified earlier, their nutritional status optimized, and their outcomes improved? That's not a small thing. That's the difference between a condition you endure and a condition you might actually address. The bigger picture here is something that keeps showing up in obstetric research. Pregnancy nutrition remains weirdly neglected in modern medicine. We have sophisticated diagnostic tools. We have powerful medications. We can detect fetal abnormalities with stunning precision. But asking whether a pregnant woman is eating enough, assessing micronutrient density, doing nutritional counseling before complications show up, that's still treated like optional, like something nutritionists do, not something doctors do. Research keeps suggesting that approach is backward. Better nutrition doesn't just make you feel better, it changes outcomes. It changes who gets sick and who stays well, and yet it's still not integrated into standard prenatal care in most places. This study adds to that evidence. It's not definitive, but it's enough to ask whether we should be doing things differently. The single most unsettling finding from this research is this. Women with a serious pregnancy complication were significantly undernourished, and nobody was tracking it. That's not because the women didn't care about their babies. It's because the medical system wasn't asking. Which raises one final question that should keep you thinking, how many other pregnancy complications are we treating as pure bad luck when they're actually partially preventable through nutrition we could assess right now? Turns out scientists have been busy, and they're not done yet.